So, welcome everybody to our Nomasis webinar. My name is Tiziano, and I'm pleased to introduce to you Misha from Apple and Patrick from Nomasis, who will be presenting today. Today's webinar is about how do you ensure the secure deployment of your Apple devices, and the session lasts about 25 minutes. Please notice that the webinar will be recorded, and during the presentation your microphones will be set to mute and your camera is switched off. You may post questions during the session through the chat function to the host, and the questions will then be answered at the end of the session. Now I'd like to hand over to Misha. Please start the presentation, Misha. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tiziano, for the opportunity to participate in today's webinar. Very happy to do so. Let's see if the presentation moves forward. Yes, it does. So today we see many Apple products being used within many corporate offices and in many processes throughout the industry, even though sometimes Apple was not even involved into deploying. But you can see that those devices are being used at the core of the processes of those industries. So the Apple platform is used in the business because it's best for the users. So everybody can enjoy a great working day and they are enabled to do great work. And we also feature a lot of tools and best practices for IT users to be able to deploy and manage that platform at scale. And if you combine that, it's best at the end for your business. So let's try to focus a little bit on what is very important for your people, because the devices are built for your users. Apple has always focused to create products that enrich people's lives. That's our claim. By implementing that technology the right way and taking into account what it can do for the users, that's where it comes to life. It's especially important at work, where the devices are the bridge between the users. They interact with each other and they also interact with your customers. So delivering the right experience makes a big difference in your business life. For many years, Apple products have been setting the bar for the user experience. Today, employees want to have the exactly same experience in the business life as they have at home. That's what they want to experience. They don't want to come to work and have a completely different work experience. There was an IDC study recently where they interviewed IT and line of business leaders, and they agreed that improved employee experience and higher employee engagement translates into better customer experience, higher customer satisfaction, and higher revenue by the organization. At the end of the day, we take a very unique approach in creating the best user experience with a deep integration of our hardware, software, and services. And you can see that if you use an Apple Pencil and an iPad, it's really a great example. You can write like on a piece of paper with a pen. It's almost the same experience. There are many people that would call themselves Apple fanboys because they, sorry, need to click once more. They started maybe with one device, maybe with an iPhone. And then they add another device and maybe they even go all in on the platform. They love the seamless collaboration between the different devices, iPhone and iPad and Mac and so on. And they simply rely on what you can do with all those products. Now they can benefit, for example, with the iPad as a second screen for the Mac, just by having it next to each other without needing an additional cable or something, just because they have the same Apple ID. or they can unlock their Mac with the Apple Watch just by wearing the Apple Watch, or they can use the iPhone for navigation, putting it into the pocket and then keep on walking using the Apple Watch for navigation. Or they use copy and paste on an iPhone, copy on the iPhone and paste on the Mac or iPad or whatever. And there is so much more you can do just by having a proper installation with your Apple ID. We call that continuity. And you could also use the same functionality, of course, in your business life. Now, what enables a user to leverage all iCloud capabilities, such as universal clipboard, for example, or the camera and so on, that's the iCloud service. So you have a lot of different services that come along with iCloud. Camera, for example, you can use on the Mac your camera from the iPhone just by clicking on it. All comes true with the Apple ID. It's quite easy to get your own Apple ID. You just go to appleid.apple.com, you sign up, you set your password, and there you are. You can use either your private email or your business email account. But it's very important, at the end of the day, this is a private Apple ID that you just created, even though you might have used your business email account. This Apple ID belongs to the user. So if the user leaves the company, he will still be able to use that same Apple ID that he has created, maybe with your business email account. Next, with the Apple Business Manager, which, by the way, is completely free, you manage the fleet of your devices, your content, and your users. And you can create managed Apple IDs. Now, with managed Apple IDs, you have many options to define what iCloud services can do. And you can do a federation with your identity provider, such as Azure ID. Like this, your business email becomes your managed Apple ID. But it's very important, keep in mind that every managed Apple ID must be unique. It also cannot be the same as another Apple ID that is already existing. And based on Apple Business Manager, you can build and deploy and manage with your MDM solution of choice. Next, now that we have learned that there are two kinds of Apple IDs, a private one and a managed one. Private belongs to the user and remains with the user, even if the user leaves the company. The managed Apple ID is fully managed by the company and is based on the company domain. If your company has federated, no new private Apple IDs can be created on this specific domain. With managed Apple ID in place, your organization has additional benefits, like you could do shared iPads, for example, or you could do account-driven enrollment. For example, if you have users that leverage BYOD devices, you can still manage the content and deploy it to these kind of users. And with this, I am very happy to hand over to Patrick for the second part of the presentation today.
Thank you very much, Misha, for this interesting beginning of the webinar and explaining us what a managed Apple ID is. So let's have a look at what recurring expenses that you will face if you start using the Apple Business Manager. and professionalize and securize your devices, apps, and managed Apple IDs. So as Misha said, the Apple Business Manager is free of charge, or we can also say it's included in the MDM license, because usually you connect your Apple Business Manager with your MDM or UEM management platform for your mobile devices. But of course, like every system, you need resources for support, for maintenance, for the management, for doing innovation. Maybe Apple will bring new functionality in it, new configuration capabilities, and you need to do sort of innovation to evaluate, test this new functionality, and check if you want to introduce this into your company. And then, of course, there is also a part with the MDM interface. You will interconnect the ABM, so the Apple Business Manager with your MDM that resides on a token, on a certificate, which expires once a year, like with every other Apple certificate, which you have to keep in mind to renew. Now, from the other side, let's have a detailed look on what you need to ensure during operation if you work with the Apple Business Manager. Of course, you have to on and offboard devices. You will buy new devices or you will exchange your existing ones. These need to be registered in your Apple Business Manager, or new employees start in your company. They need to be onboarded, so they need to get a managed Apple ID. Then, of course, adding new apps and books. If you want to silently distribute managed apps from your MDM system with your Apple Business Manager, then you need to configure those apps or books to be distributed to your desired user groups. Then, of course, some cleanup work to do. You have maybe people that left the company, or old devices that are not used anymore, etc. Then what we also recommend from time to time, we do that with our customers on a quarterly base, to do health checks of your configurations, of your environment, of your MDM and Apple Business Manager, to be sure that you prevent issues coming up. And then last but not least, regular security reviews to ensure that your users' devices and your infrastructure is healthy, also concerning IT security. And then, of course, as I mentioned before, the MDM token updates. We have some customers that forget this from time to time, and then suddenly the connection between the Apple Business Manager and the MDM is not working anymore. So it's good if you create an appointment in your calendar, maybe a month or two before, to remember that you need to update the token, which at the end is a very easy task and takes about, for you that have never done it, maybe 15 minutes. For us in Nomasis, we do that within 2-3 minutes. Then also don't forget, like every system will also the Apple Business Manager. Of course, Apple is working hard to make the business experience on their devices and Apple IDs better and better. And they will introduce new features, new functions. And also here, maybe together with the reviews or health checks you do, you should also keep an eye on the new functionality and evaluate these new functionality within the Apple Business Manager, or in cooperation with your MDM system, to ensure that you are always up to date and can bring the best user experience to your users. Now, how can Nomasis support you in Apple Business Manager? So we at Nomasis, we are pioneer in Switzerland. We work together with Apple and with the Apple integration in companies since 2008. So since iOS 4, 5 a bit better. 4 was still a bit hanky, but then since iOS 5, the business use and the MDM interface was really introduced very well and always and extended every year with every update, with every major update, new functionality came in, and today we can really use our Apple devices like a computer and access company data on the fly, manage our calendars, do team calls. So when I'm on the way at customers, I'm always happy to have such a device with which I can do everything, almost everything I can do with my computer. Then we have a lot of experience at many other customers, of course, so you can profit from that. We are indeed a UM and MDM specialist. We are also able nowadays, since almost 3 years now, to sell Apple hardware. We are in the distribution partner program, DPP, of Apple. We are a member of the Apple Consultants Network to make sure that we stay always in touch, first of all with Apple, but also that we always keep up our certifications, that we always get trainings on the newest features in order to consult and engineer at best our customers. Then we have 2 certifications, or the 2 certifications you can have at Apple as a company, as a provider. We are Apple Certified Support Professional and Apple Certified IT Professional since almost 2 years now. Now, what do we normally do at our customers when it comes to the Apple Business Manager, or what can we provide to our customers? Mostly it starts with an assessment. So we check the use cases the customer has, what types of devices, macOS, iPhones, iPads, etc., which user groups, what apps are you using, and then of course we also check the prerequisites and the requirements. So when it comes to federation, so that what Misha said, that you can really block creating private Apple IDs with your company domain. And so also once you do a federation, let's say with Azure or Entra ID of Microsoft, that the users can really use the same password they use on the computer also on the device. That's all in this assessment. Then, because we have a lot of experience with other customers, we can bring in best practice in form of recommendations, and then we do an onboarding plan. So how do we start configuring, timeline, testing, etc. Once it comes to the Apple Business Manager onboarding, we will integrate your MDM and your Apple ecosystem in the Apple Business Manager. We do a basic security setup because, you know, these are the most vulnerable devices we have. They're always in your pocket. They're always connected to the internet. They're always also in the private life, in vacation. They're always there. So I think we as a security company, we have a big eye on the security setup. Then we define the standard apps provisioning. So which apps do you want to seamlessly distribute and configure on your device? Maybe not every user needs the same apps. So we also do here in the assessment, we already prepared that. Here we do really the engineering work to make sure that every user gets the apps he really needs. Then we do a rollout testing, rollout planning, and of course, very important, an operation manual. And then we can also offer managed services for Apple Business Manager. Once you are rollouted or you are in the rollout, we help you and give you assistance and support during the rollout to your end users. We offer second level support within a service level agreement, so that if you have issues, we are here for you to help. We also help you in extending your Apple Business Manager we do in onboarding. Usually we do a basic setup, but of course we also help when new features come, etc. In Apple Business Manager, but also in your MDM systems to make sure that the new features and the new functionality still works or starts to work well. And then we have, of course, because we always try to get the things you really need, and I would say that 80% is the same at every customer, but there is this 10 to 20% which is special for every customer. When I think of a blue light organization like police, they have maybe some other things to see than a bank, etc. So we also do custom setup and services for dedicated custom setup and services. If you want to know more about our Apple Business Manager service, you can find it on our homepage, or of course, you can contact us at any time. And with this, I'm pleased to go over to the question and answer section. Tiziano, are there any questions to Misha or myself?
First of all, I want to say thank you to Misha and Patrick for giving us an overview on this very interesting topic. I did not receive any questions at the moment, so if you want, you can unmute yourself, or you can write the question also through the chat function.
And if you ask questions, we will not put them in to the recording anyway, so don't be shy. Very good.
So okay. So as there are no further questions, we will end the webinar at this point. But if you have any further questions or points afterwards, please contact Nomasis at any time, of course. And I would say thank you all for joining, and have a nice evening, and hope see you soon, and hopefully on our next webinar end of June. Thank you.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you very much.
Have a nice evening.
Bye, everyone.
You too. Have a nice
evening. Bye-bye. Thanks.
Bye.